Throughout its history, Notre Dame athletics has inspired men and women onward to victory in the game of life, often despite tremendous odds against them. These journeys have manifested themselves in a variety of physical, mental, and spiritual forms, but one element binds them together: persistence fueled by the spirit of Notre Dame. We will fight in every game, strong of heart and true to her name.
The water for me is everything. It is a safe haven for swimmers. I love the water, whether it's the pool or the ocean or anything. I love the smell of chlorine. I love the freedom of being in the water. I love how powerful the water is.
You know, when we left Northwestern, it was raining in Chicago. And I remember seeing tire tracks going straight ahead. And then it happened just like that. I mean, one minute we're looking straight ahead, and the next minute, whoosh, we feel the back end of the bus slip.
As soon as we landed, I was actually the first person off the bus. I saw Haley, and she was complaining about her back. So she and I sat there in the snow.
Remarkably calm group of women taking care of one another. I mean, there was not screaming and yelling, there was not panic.
We had learned something from somebody who did some mental imagery with our team. He had told us, you were supposed to say cancel the pain. Every time you said cancel or cancel the pain, that would help. And so I remember I kept telling her that just to try to keep the pain at bay for her.
We had a number of girls that had been injured. I asked the nurse who was the most seriously hurt, and they motioned to a room where Haley Scott was, and she was paralyzed at the time. And I walked in, she was by herself. I think she was really going into shock because she was shaking badly. I tried to get a blanket, and very quickly a doctor came in, and he explained to her that she has been paralyzed. This is an 18-year-old girl from Arizona, all by herself, who had been laying in the snow from this terrible bus accident. And he said, Haley, you're paralyzed from the waist down. I don't think we can do anything for you, but it would be good procedure to do exploratory surgery. And without blinking an eye, this little girl said, what are we waiting for? Never once did she say anything but, don't worry, I'll walk out of here. We came to console her, but she wound up consoling us.
The first 48 hours after the accident and after my surgeries were really the most critical. I was frequently asking how the rest of my team was, and the answer I always got was, you're the only one still in the hospital. It wasn't until the next morning that actually Dr. Clower came in to tell me that 2 of my teammates had passed away. And that was when I started what I would do for the next 2 years and even for the rest of my life was honor them and say, I will walk and I will swim and I will do it for Megan and Colleen. And that was always my focus.
Went down to Memorial Hospital where Haley Scott DeMaria was lying, and I talked to her parents, and they said, we don't know if she's ever going to move again. So with that in mind, I went in to visit her.
And he said, may I pray with you? And I said what most non-Catholics would probably say, and that is, but I'm not Catholic. And he said, that doesn't matter. Can we pray? And I don't know if I knew it at the time, but certainly looking back, that was the beginning of Notre Dame taking care of me. It didn't matter that I wasn't Catholic. It didn't matter that I might never swim again or walk again. I was part of this family, and they were going to do whatever it took to carry me through this.
There was a time period in the hospital where they said, okay, if she moves through, in this time period, she's going to be okay. And if she doesn't, she's probably paralyzed. Well, that time period had expired. And it was like, oh, is this going to be bad news?
I was lying in my hospital bed. I could really only see my feet propped up because I was only allowed to lie flat. My mom was on the left side of me on the phone talking to Dick Rosenthal, and my dad was sitting next to me on the right.
All of a sudden, she started screaming and crying and laughing. And my first reaction was, my God, something terrible has happened.
At about that time, there was a mass here. The bishop said that, that one of the Notre Dame girls was seriously injured in an accident over the weekend. Let's all say a prayer for her. They did, and she moved her toes that hour. And I'll tell you again, I can't say this without being emotional, that however you send strength to a person across the country, we received it. And we'll be stronger when we left this room. Don't ask me how, but I know that it happened. And it happened over and over and over again.
Over the course of her recovery, Haley would have to endure 5 potentially life-threatening surgeries to uphold her promise to Colleen and Megan that she would swim again.
I knew that I wanted my first race to be at home. I felt very strongly that that's where the story began and that's where the story needed to end.
She had been in the water swimming, and we knew that as far as skill, technique, fitness, she was fine. But the question of what would it be like when she actually competes, we didn't know.
Haley Scott returned to a world she loves today, a world where her body is not just ready to swim, but race.
Once I was off that block, I just swam.
Haley had indeed won her first heat. I was overwhelmed.
Haley touched so many people that they all wanted to be a part of a comeback, and everyone connected with her here at Notre Dame.
I was embraced by a community and a family, and I can't thank them. I can't go back and thank everyone who helped me, but I can absolutely pass it along. While that first race I swam was not my best time ever, it was the fastest I would ever swim again. And it was very painful touching the wall and looking at the clock and having it be a very real reminder that this doesn't go away and it's not going to go away. And I had to figure out how to be okay with that, and it took a while.
Following her dramatic comeback to competition, Haley was asked to address a pep rally for the upcoming football game between the unbeaten Irish and the #1 ranked Florida State Seminoles.
The experts will tell you many things. They'll tell you what you can do, what you can't do. Sometimes they'll go so far as to predict the future, but sometimes their predictions are wrong.
We walked out of that pep rally. I wish we could have played right then, but we had to wait till the next day. But fortunately, our players remembered her very encouraging words.
Of all my time, my 18 years as president, the 2 most memorable days and events were after 9/11 and after the women's swim team accident.
I've been asked many times, what are the most memorable moments of your tenure as athletic director at Notre Dame? Who were the greatest athletes? We've had a plethora of great athletes, many of whom are household names. But I guess I'll always believe that the one that stands out above all the rest was Haley Scott.
In 1996, Haley had one final back surgery to remove the metal rods that had provided her back support to fully heal. Today, she is an author and motivational speaker and lives on the Eastern Seaboard with her husband Jamie and their 2 sons, James and Edward. Her inspiring story came full circle in the spring of 2012 at the Notre Dame Stadium when she was asked to deliver the commencement address to the graduating class.
Notre Dame is a community of faith. You have lived it for 4 years. You will be sustained by it for the rest of your life. Just as the words, "I understand," are powerful when spoken truthfully, so too are the words, "I will pray for you." I know you will make the Lady on the Dome proud. I have no doubt the class of 2012 will change lives.